and you're going to get some of the key benefits and the differences between conventional business intelligence and Tableau. So, well, I'm not from Tableau, so my the introduction to Tableau 10 and all the features would be completely unbiased. I'm not from Tableau, so naturally I won't say all good thing about Tableau. Tableau can do this, blah blah blah. I'll give you unbiased introduction of Tableau. I also explore some of the features, capabilities which Tableau can do and Tableau cannot do. Okay, so the presentation of Tableau and its capability would be completely both side of the coin. Well, so let's get started. So the people who think about Tableau is all about just drag and drop and prepare report and presenting data. Tableau is not all about the same thing. Okay. It can do much more than this. We also do a lot of attention on what is the capabilities and limitation of Tableau. So when you start building any solution, you would be knowing under which scenario and circumstances Tableau is good. So first thing is that we already have a lot of business intelligence solution and tools, and some of the product from IT giant company like Oracle, SAP. Then how come Tableau come into picture and gain a good market space? How such a small company compared to Oracle, Tab, and SAP can compete product like Oracle Business Intelligence, SAP Business Object, and blah blah blah. Okay, the market was already narrow. Tableau played a real good play and role and able to find the space in the market. So what are the different key features the tool has? So for that we need to start understanding what are the limitation and the difficulties and traditional BI has. So I'll give you a very brief introduction about traditional BI and I'll also talk about what are the different loopholes, the problem with the business intelligence, traditional business intelligence. So let me tell you what people think about business intelligence, the business user view. 10 years before, people used to think business intelligence as a luxury. So if you're a rich company, you have got a lot of money, right, and you have adequate budget for IT, you are capable enough to set up business intelligence. It's not a kind of solution when a small or mid-sized company can afford to buy this. That was the first place where Tableau made it market. It did not focus a big enterprise company in the beginning. They focus on a small mid-sized company with very limited IT budget or in fact no IT budget at all. So conventional BI work in this way. You have different data sources. Primarily your business intelligence work on transactional system. As the name indicate, business intelligence. How do you make use of uh, your your organization data in a way that you can take some important decision, and your decision should be fact based. It won't be based on imagination or clue. Okay, so your conventional BI work on your transactional data. Do you see one thing interesting over here? You have data from different departments: finance, HR, operating, marketing, all departments. So conventional BI, it's basically enterprise solution. It was not a departmental solution. So in case I go to the, I want to implement business intelligence, uh, I need to have adequate money, and I can build a business intelligence or enterprise, across different department. So the second place where Tableau, get a good market, not only Tableau, the similar product like Tableau, ClickView, Tipco, Spotfire, they found the space they can provide a solution to the customer across different department in addition to individual department. Is called, you can call this a departmental BI for one department. So your conventional BI has got different data sources. You pull data from different sources, put into common repository. It could be on based on relational database, and you can have a multi-dimensional database on top of this, and you have a reporting tier. Okay, so there are different terms: reporting, data visualization, data exploration are different terms. I would explain you one by one. So that's a conventional BI, and you see the reporting sit on top of your warehouse, and there are multiple layer. So from cost point of view, it's very expensive because people have to procure licenses for your transactional BI to play with data, data transformation, data cleansing, data storage system, and then you have reporting. So this is a whole implementation. Cost point of view is very expensive, and the life cycle of implementation was really high. So Tableau click with the found the space where they can pitch in, and they can provide a solution for individual department rather than for enterprise organization. And as I said, conventional BI actually designed for executives, right? Or decision makers. And later on, they also added up analysts. Conventional BI was focusing on these group of areas, people. So you do strategic business, okay, to take important business decision, decide how your organization is going to grow, what products you should manufacture, what services you should provide, and blah blah, right? This is the area where it was empty. Actually, it was said business intelligence is not for front end executives or employee. It is not being used for operational business intelligence, for day to day business operation, right? And this is an area where your new generation BI tool Tableau came into picture. They cover this area. So when I say I'm going to implement Tableau, it means it can be used not only by executives for taking up important strategic decision, but also it can be used by your front end executives, your employee, to take day-to-day small business decisions, right? So that's another area where the new generation BI tool comes into picture. Okay. Well, I'm trying to explain you more with the graphics. Then I put all these bullet points on Notepad. Most of the time when you look at Tableau introduction videos from Tableau site, you see this part of it. You see somebody has opened the Tableau and drag it on prepare report, and you get impressed. Wow, that's pretty simple tool, and anybody can play with this. And people make up their thinking that Tableau is all about drag, drop, and prepare report. But it's much more than this, and there are many things which Tableau is not capable enough to do. So we need to use Tableau or similar kind of product. It has to use along with different, you know, uh, service or product stack. So there's a term called self-service report. Actually, this is not a new term. Right from the introduction of business intelligence, few years later, it is found that the business intelligence should be simple enough so that anybody, you need not to be data scientist to know how to use business intelligence. Anybody with a basic data skills or computer skill should be able to use the business intelligence on self-service basis. So when you see Tableau, you see from the user standpoint, from business analyst standpoint. So whatever set of question you have a set of question as a business analyst or a business manager who understand business very well. You drag and drop, get data and prepare data and visualize, and that's it. You can share along with your colleagues. But before you do that, you forget what are different complexities hidden behind this. Before you drag and drop and prepare your report, there are a lot of activities happen behind the screen, right? You don't care about data transformation, data massaging, data quality check, data complexity, and blah blah. Who does this job? This is your IT team do it. So IT team actually facilitates. It is your job so that you only limit your activities to drag and drop and prepare report. But what things are behind the screen which is not shown? It is assumed you can do BI reporting only when the data quality is good. So if you have poor data, you cannot do business intelligence. It's as simple as this. If your data is so huge, badly formatted, it is not organized correctly, whatever tool you're using, it makes no difference. I mean, you cannot do good data in business intelligence. So self-service is a facility we give it to your non-IT people, the business users, provided that your data is highly formatted, structured, organized, clean. Who does this job? Before it's served to you, it is done by IT team, and this part is hidden. So actually, when you work in a Tableau or ClickView, TIBCO, Spotify, similar kind of product, you're not a traditional developer. You are a facilitator, and your job is to facilitate your business users to so that they can prepare data on their own. And that's a major reason behind most of the business intelligence project fail in early 90s, and 2000s. Because if you send me, I'm an IT guy and I have no experience in business, and you send me into some healthcare or automobile domain and ask me to prepare business report, absolutely I cannot do this. It's out of my capabilities because I'm not from business. But the same task your business user can do this. So the project failed because of the communication gap and the understanding gap between your business users and your IT folks, right? This is what we are trying to do, and therefore many projects failed. That was a sheer communication gap. So what Tableau and ClickView they do it? They say, no, you are not going to build a solution. The solutions to be built or the reportings to be done by business users, but an IT team, as a developer, administrator, whatever you are, you will facilitate, ease their job done, right? So actually, when you visualize it, there are people working behind the screen who ease your job of data visualization. So Tableau is not all about drag and drop. So that's a traditional and self-service BI. Okay. So I like to note all the points we discussed, just a bullet points where Tableau cannot perform. So Tableau is data visualization tool. Data visualization tool. You visualize data, you organize data in a way that it makes sense, easy for me to understand as from a business user standpoint. Okay. uh, it has a data exploration capabilities. Data exploration. Now what is the problem with business traditional BI? Okay. The biggest problem with traditional BI, I'll show you with live example. Traditional BI was designed. So when I say traditional BI, I'm more focusing about OBI, SAP Business Object, IBM Cognos. At least I've done, not completely, I've done a lot of POCs, business case studies. I prepared, worked on different product as well. So similar kind of product, the biggest problem with these products, they are designed to answer known question, right? That's the biggest limitation. They design answer known question. What does that mean? Whereas data exploration designed to answer unknown question, right? So actually you do not know what you need. Many of time as a user also, you do not know exactly what you need. When you play around with the data, you find something very interesting and important patterns, right? So you answer question which you do not know yourself, but when you play with numbers and all, you find, oh, hey, this is a something which I've never thought of, something important pattern and answer. Now, I'll take your attention to a different area. I'm going to show you something. Uh, one of my HR solution. It's a HR analytics report which I built on top of Cognos and OBI for my POC. And I want to do a comparative study for my business users. I want to leave the decision on my users on their own. Let them decide which tool is good for them. Okay. So the key point when you build any solution, any analytics, HR, sales, marketing, procurement, whatever, the key problem is same when you start designing it. Now look at this. When I start building a solution, first I have a set of predefined set of questions. My business users say, hey, I want a business intelligence solution which can answer these questions. So some of the very straightforward questions are, I like to do employee expense analytics, employee yearly expenses, quarterly expenses are under certain manager, benefit, compensation, and blah blah blah. But what is important, I already have a set of question, and when I build my solution or data model, my data model is very focused keeping this question in mind. So you need a employee expenses, it comes from this table, it comes from this fact table. You need employee manager details, it comes from this table. You need employee organization, it comes from this table. Employee financial data come from this. So what do you see when you build a solution or data model? You have a set of question in your mind and you prepare your model accordingly. If any question come from out of this predefined limit or boundaries and you have no clue, you cannot answer this. So what happened over the period of time, you keep collecting list of questions, right? This is only for HR model I'm talking about. Your first part of your question is direct and indirect expenses. You build a model and you're going to answer this question. Then you have second part of the HR expenses, maybe forecasted expenses, future expenses. You build a model and you have set of question. Employee position expenses, ranking detail, recruitment detail, compensation, succession, all this set of models you see. You prepare all this model and then you have a set of questions, right? So moral of the story, it means your the overall the methodology of building traditional BI is question based. You prepare a set of questions, say, I have this set of question, I want my solution to be built on top of this. Any question comes beyond that, you have to remodel it, and therefore it costs are very high. Imagine the model I shown you, this is only for HR. You have data from finance, marketing, procurement, sales lead, blah blah. So overall your model turns out very complicated. The enterprise business intelligence is very complicated in terms of maintenance, cost, you know and any it cannot accommodate the new changes. If new changes coming up, it's difficult to accommodate, right? So that's one of the difficulty with traditional BI. It is designed to answer known question, and indeed nevertheless to say, as you see over here, you know the implementation time is very long, right? Compare the implementation time of all Tableau, ClickView, TIBCO, Spotfire is relatively low. So when I say low, I mean I have done some project for a small scale client. I build a reporting for them within a week or so. Yeah. So implementation time, I say really low. I mean your budget is very limited. I work for the client. Their yearly IT budget was $6,000. You may be saying it's funny, man. What you're saying? It's $6,000. How can you implement IT? Yes, it's true. You can implement Tableau within $6,000 with a yearly budget. To the extent the cost, I mean, such a minimum budget, you can think of implementing business intelligence, which was absolutely of impossible. So implementation time is low. There is the cost. Uh, Basically, traditional BI designed for enterprise business intelligence. When I say enterprise, I essentially mean across all departments. I mean, there was no concept of implementing business intelligence for individual department. Whereas what Tableau does, they focus on one part. Absolutely, that's called departmental business intelligence. Well, I'm a small company. I don't have adequate budget, but I still need a business intelligence for my business to grow. And I want business intelligence to be implemented in my finance, right? My budget is very low. It is possible now because your solution can sit on top of this. Departmental BI. Uh, Traditional BI designed for executives, not mandatory, but primarily focus was executives, and it was designed for strategy decision. Whereas the data visualization tool, it's not mandatory you need for strategic decision. For a small company, you cannot imagine for a small company with 10 people, there would be a CEO and the structured model. It's a small company. So it can be used for operational business intelligence. It's like a day-to-day decision. You can use it. An important cost, right? Implementation, the license cost are really high. Implementation cost, consultant cost, everything is very high. Therefore you cannot, the average bi cost $300,000. Okay, an average bi implementation cost, it's a generic figure. But you can implement Tableau less than $10,000. Imagine the difference. Even if your budget is less than 10,000, you can think of implementing Tableau. And it is based on the license based model. I mean, look at this way. IBM, it's little funny now. IBM used to sell Cognos. The Cognos have 4 or 5 licenses. Quite confusing for a business team. IBM used to sell the license, one for query, It used to sell one license for analysis, and a similar fashion used to sell 3 4 licenses under business intelligence itself. So people are confused. I'm buying a product, and why should I buy for everything? It's like you're buying a car and you need to pay you separately for car engine, car steering, car brake, right? It's a funny. But people, business was not so mature enough that they think on their own or decide, why should I pay car in pieces? Why can't I buy the entire car and pay one lump sum money? That's what the new generation BA do. There is no separate cost. Just pay one license cost, and as you need, you can use it. And I'm sure most of you have heard of it's a cloud based, and I never need to tell you what is cloud based. It's a cloud based solution. So use as you need, right? So if you need a milk, you don't need to buy a cow, right? It's as simple as this. So you can just go to the market and buy the milk. Isn't the cloud based solution based on the same thing? So if you need to implement business intelligence, you need not buy a big server, IT team. You need not host it. As you need them, you can use it. It's a cloud based solution. Okay. So it's based on top of, if you need 2 people, you can buy 2 people, I mean license for 2 people, and so on. That's a major difference between your conventional and traditional BI. So the Tableau, ClickView, and TIBCO Spotfire and similar kind of product where they made their space for small scale to mid-sized company. Although they claim their solution is good for enterprise, but it's not true. I tell you the reason behind this. So what I'm trying to say, like Bank of America, maybe the Tableau guys may not be agree with my view, but the facts I'm going to give you is very realistic. So we did one POC for one of the major bank, okay, and the major bank, it has been using business intelligence for past 20 years. They are very mature in business intelligence, and they have close to 5,000 users using business intelligence day to day, right from strategician to operational BI. So every level of people in the bank was using business intelligence, and our task was to find out some possibilities to replace the conventional BI with traditional BI, and it did not. I mean traditional BI with new generation BI, and it failed. Why it failed? I'll tell you some simple reason behind this. So why Tableau cannot be used for enterprise solution, at least as of now? Okay, the first major thing, when you work Tableau, ClickView, and TIBCO Spotfire, similar kind of product, the first assumption is data quality check. There's no data quality check. I mean, you have data source, any data source, and you have data presentation or data visualization layer, right? So you have data source, data visualization. If your data is poor quality, how do you manage it? Like, so if you put your garbage data, you see the bad data in your data presentation layer. So it is impossible to your data visualization sit directly on data source. There has to be a data quality check layer. There has to be. It's mandatory, right? So this was Tableau doesn't offer any data quality check, right? There's no, maybe you can have an external tool for data quality check. All right, let's add, this can be addressed by using some external data quality check layer. Second thing which is completely missing is called business logics. Well, if any one of you have working experience into OBI, Tableau, ClickView, OBI, SAP Business Object, Cognos, their model design in a way that they can accommodate and write business logics, right? So business logic, um, as simple as this. Maybe I need to write a business logic to identify who is eligible for a credit card, a gold credit card. So you apply business logic. Gold credit card, anybody whose salary is more than $100,000 and liability is less than $500,000 eligible for gold credit card. This business logic I cannot write. The level, I mean the complexity level I want into my data visualization tool like Tableau, we cannot accommodate. It's absolutely not, right? So conventional BI, business in a tool, have these capabilities, okay, right? Any conventional BI tool they do, you use it. uh, they have got a physical layer, they may use different term. They have a business logic layer and they have a data presentation layer. I'm telling you all this based on my experience. Okay, so Tableau, ClickView, TIBCO, Spotfire, Design, they are a good solution for data presentation, right? But they don't have a business logic model at all. They don't have a physical layer, okay, right? They don't have any one of these things. So in order to write business logic, I need to use intermediate tier. I need to use it. What does that mean? So before data source, after data source, I need to create a semantic layer. I use a generic term on semantic layer, and then you have a data presentation, right? So whatever tool I'm using, it is mandatory. If it's a small, very small organization which doesn't require complex business logic, maybe I can write it, but essentially I need a semantic layer. This has to be learned. The data quality check, business logic has to be incorporated along with your Tableau. Therefore, new generation BIs cannot be replacement of traditional BI. This is a very common thing people like to know. Okay. There are some good things as well, not all bad things. Why? As I said, there are various reasons behind the great success of new generation BI. There's one area where they could do very good job. Uh, if you look at your model, go back and look at the same model, you would see 10 years before we did not have a social networking. Maybe we had it, but not as popular as we have these days. We did not have a uh, a concept like big data and all. Maybe not so as prominent as we have these days. So more often your data was conventional data. What was your data source? 10 years before. Data source, most often it was relational database. It was multi-dimensional database like SPACE, MDD. You have a semi-structured data, right? This is the conventional BI when they built. The focus area was absolutely keeping these three sources. Now later on, what happened? The major changes have done. The big changes have done. We have a cloud-based application like Salesforce, NetSuite. All this cloud-based application came into picture, right? We got cloud-based databases like Redshift. We got social networking data. So what the social networking site they do? They're basically data mining company. You know, unethical word would be they steal your data, okay, and they use the same data for different kind of analytics, and eventually the same data is being supplied to various companies, and company make their product services based upon you know the customer liking and disliking. So basically this social networking sites sell their data to the various companies based on which they do some various analysis, right? The conventional BI was not designed for these sources, and there's a reason. You will be surprised to know that some companies, the new generation, I mean the traditional BI tool like OBI, they did not appear in the Gartner review. Imagine a 20-year-old product could not find a space in the Gartner review, right? Because there are some reason behind this. They could not scale up themselves to the extent they can compete the current market. This is the reason all conventional BI tools are equipping themselves so that they can accommodate these changes. They are halfway through, not 100% done. So if I'm buying a Tableau, I mean, it's something like this. 5 years before, if I buy Salesforce for CRM solution and I need any analytics, customer relationship management analytics, I ought to go. I'm bound to go with new generation BI, because my conventional BI was not capable enough, or I would say not efficient enough to handle cloud based data. There are a lot of difficulties. That was one reason behind it. Okay. So they handle very well. Tableau can handle cloud-based application absolutely well. All those Salesforce kind of product, they have their own analytics like Wave Analytics and all. Cloud or Tableau can handle with data sources, cloud-based databases, and social networking. I mean, they are absolutely good. Undoubtedly, they're good. And they use a term called connect to any data source. And they're really, I mean, when they say, they really mean it. You see list of data sources they can connect to: cloud-based big data, Google database, IBM, traditional BI, non-traditional BI. The list is huge. They can connect to any data sources. That's the one reason they came into market and really thrive well. So that's the some key differences. Now Tableau is very good at data presentation, data visualization. So you see, when you see it, video in YouTube channel, you see people are dragging, dropping, using various property change and blah blah, and making good data presentation. But who does this job? See, assume I'm you give me a financial data, I'm not from finance, and you ask me to do a good data presentation. I cannot do this well, because for me numbers are numbers. I don't have any sentiment associated with these numbers. But the same data, your financial analyst or maybe budget administrator or CFO can do very well, 100 times better than me. Naturally, because he understands the meaning of the numbers. He has a sentiment associated with the numbers. Therefore, data visualization is basically an IT, non-IT job, which is misinterpreted. So when you implement work on Tableau kind of product, we clearly differentiate and draw a line between IT, core IT jobs, and I would call business user job or business user activities, right? People generally misinterpret or get confused, and they think, when I look at the video from YouTube channel different section, they see this Tableau is all about drag and drop, click on, process, data gets done, that's it. But actually that's not an IT job. That's actually non-IT job, right? What core IT job is? Our training program is basically mapped to core IT job 80%, but I also talk about business user activities to some extent, keeping some data. I'll be talking about HR, finance, and different data sources, at least two of them. So core IT jobs, starting from setting up your infrastructure. This this job, your business user cannot do this, right? I'll tell you one simple example. When we implement, when we bid the POC for the bank, one of the bank, okay, the Tableau guy came and say, we can do this blah blah blah, okay, and they shown one thing very good. We can do in memory data visualization, in memory data exploration, data visualization, in memory solution you have, right? What is in memory is as simple as saying, bring all data from your different sources. From data source, I bring all data, all a subset of data, and put into memory, into local system, and then visualize it. What is benefit? Naturally, performance is good, indeed, right? Performance is good. But my client says, why should you bring data into memory? My data source itself is capable enough to process high volume data. So I have a hardware like SAP HANA, I have a hardware like Oracle Exalytics, and company already spent huge money in order to buy this hardware. They're very expensive, right? The moral of the story, data source itself is in memory solution. Do you get me? The data source itself is capable enough to process high volume data in memory solution. Then maybe I don't need a in memory solution data visualization. It may be an added advantage, but not need, right? It may not be need. So the moral of the story, you don't just blindly offer solution to the customer and say, my product offer in memory solution, therefore you need to pay $100 extra. I say, why would I pay? I already procure my hardware is capable enough to do in memory solution. I don't need it. So setting up infrastructure is an intelligent job. You need to look at various parameters. That's what we are going to talk about over here. Yeah. We all talk about to some extent dimension data modeling, or you call data normalization. If you go to my videos, you find my videos are absolutely different than a conventional video which people generally prepare, especially Tableau guys, from business. I focus absolutely on data normalization, data modeling part. You can't blindly drag and drop prepare report if your data is not normalized. It has to be structured format. I'll talk about this in more detail. That's core. In fact, this is the area of my specialization, dimension modeling. So that's a part of your infra setup, dimension modeling. Okay. Data cleansing, we won't do it, but you need to coordinate with a team, ETL team. They'll talk about data cleansing, data massaging, related activities. You need to coordinate with them, right? So you're getting data from social networking site like Facebook. You can't simply put this, data into your data visualization tool. Let's take a simple example. You have a customer feedback form, right? Some customers did not write anything, they write smiley face. System won't understand smiley face. You get this character, right? When you put in a reporting. So I need to write a business logic or some transformation rule. This means what? This means smiley, happy, right? It is possible your people in a customer feedback form, people write abusive language. Possible, right? So you need to massage that. You need to remove that part. You need to remove it because it's a free text, right? Customer feedback form may be a free text. People can write anything. How do you transfer? You need to apply certain logic, which apply certain logic before you visualize it. It has to be implemented. Maybe you don't do this. It is being done by a separate team which takes care of data massaging, transformation, cleansing, tool. We need to coordinate with them. That's a core IT job. Then once you set up the server maintenance, server regular activities, backup, recovery, your backup, recovery, transformation, uh, security setup, and regular maintenance, automation, notification. This is actually core IT task, and that is what we do in Tableau. We don't just drag and drop and prepare report. We do some business user task. Okay, so maybe my users are good enough in business, but they exactly do not know how to visualize data. What do? You go back and tell them these are possible ways of data visualization. There are multiple ways of data visualization. Some of them I covered over here, and this is surprising. You would have heard a lot that Tableau can visualize it in multiple ways. There are still many ways. There are many data visualization which Tableau cannot do. Only one tool in the world called Python. Python has a capabilities and R programming. They're close to each other. They can do all kind of data visualization, standard business data, statistical data, or any level of complex data, scientific data as well. Tableau cannot do this. Tableau also cannot do this, right? So maybe in general static generic scenario, you would assist your business of which visualization tool is good for their data. It's good for data. What tool, what visualization good for what category? This is important. Okay. And maybe your business user require more refined, nice way of data visualization. So maybe you help them in preparing dashboards. So what is behind the screen? This part is behind the screen, which is actually not shown and not being explicitly mentioned. Our focus area one is uh, going to be on dimension modeling. Okay, infrastructure, server setup, and little about data visualization. I'm sure you go to Visual and you find hundreds of videos are available. So you don't need a formal training to learn data visualization. But still, we'll talk about that. Okay. I quickly show you how my training is organized. Okay. Maybe I can show you day-wise plan. It'll help you to understand. Give me one sec.